That's all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I could do with a bit of energy. Literally, like some Wi-Fi energy, somebody to pump it up a little bit. So, how you
Okay,
doing?
we're good. Yeah, I'm great. I'm great, thanks. So
Yeah,
I'll introduce you and what we're going to be talking about today. So Rob Hobson is a registered nutritionist and a sleep expert and an author and a spokesperson for California Almonds. And today we're going to be talking about all things energy related. Some of the misconceptions around it. We're going to talk in
yeah,
particular about the afternoon slumps, which I know for one that I experience. So yeah, it's gonna be good. So do you want to take it away and maybe start, and then
yeah,
I'll fire some questions across.
yeah. You eating almonds, by the way?
I actually am. I've just finished the
Yes.
packet.
Munching away, living the brand. Right. Okay. So, yeah. So I'm Rob Hobson. So I know you're talking about the energy slump for starters. So if we start with that, maybe. So I know that I've spoken to you before, and you said you've struggled with this, and some of your followers struggle with this. So I guess we could talk about kind of what is it to start with, maybe. So the Almond Border kind of did some research, and you're definitely not alone. Loads of people feel that energy slump in the afternoon. I'm call it an energy slump, but actually more like a feeling of tiredness, because sometimes even if you've eaten enough, and obviously food gives you energy, you can still be affected by that slump, that horrible tiredness that you get. So the research that the Almond Border California did was they showed that on average, Brits feel tired sort of 3.5 hours of every day, which is quite a lot, really, if you think about
That's a
how
lot.
energized you need to feel to sort of get yourself going. Um, 48% of Brits spend more than 3 hours a day feeling tired, and 28% of Brits begin to feel tired between 2 and 4. And this is kind of when you feel that energy slump, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I guess, like I said, it's not just to do with the food that you've eaten. There's lots of other things at play. So it could be that you haven't slept very well. Um, sometimes I find that when I speak to clients, it's a case of they just haven't eaten enough food as well. I know it sounds really stupid, but they're trying to burn the candle at both ends. They're trying to do a massive workout, and then they're trying to run around like a headless chicken to get their stuff done. And then you look at what they've eaten, and they've kind of forgotten to eat lunch as they go along. So, yeah, there's lots of different things at play.
yeah. So I mean, in terms of, the thing that I experience. So, and I don't know whether it's because I eat quite a carby lunch,
Yeah,
to sort of energy, because I often train in the afternoon, but sort of quite directly after lunch, I will have this like big drain of energy, and usually myself, because I'll go and take a 20-minute nap, and then I'll come back
yeah.
and bounce back. But is there a lot to do with what you eat maybe around lunchtime? Sort of, the kind of slow releasing, fast releasing carbs, things like that.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're choosing your carbs at lunchtime, it's good to choose carbs that are sort of slow releasing, that are good source of fiber and healthy fats. And this is the same for snacks as well. So, we're talking about almonds a bit in this, and almonds are a really good source of healthy fats and protein. So they have less of an impact on your blood sugar levels. So that helps to keep you kind of centered and keep your energy levels up. You might also want to think about, for you, it's a bit different because you're training. So you might need that carbohydrate, that glycogen in your muscle to kind of fuel your workout. But it's quite a good idea to have maybe a protein-based lunch, to be honest, if you're affected by
Yeah.
that mid-afternoon slump, because that has less impact on your blood sugar levels, and that can help you to feel a little bit less tired. So that could be, a chicken salad with just a few bits of grains, or you could have some pulses, that kind of thing. You could chuck almonds on your salad if you want. So yeah, those kind of foods. The other thing to address is your sleep. And you said you like a nap. Naps are good. Uh,
Yeah.
I love a nap. I'm also lucky enough to be able to just curl up on my sofa in the afternoon and take a nap. So you don't want to sleep for too long. So if you're going to do it, 20 minutes max is enough.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you sort of get that sleep inertia that you feel, when you can't quite, because you've gone into a bit of deep sleep and you can't quite wake up. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, napping's cool, just a little bit, not too
But
much.
would you prioritize getting good sleep, when you go to bed, when you wake up, and what's good sleep like? Like, how would you, let's say, enable your sleep to be better, and what's the kind of recommended allowance? Because I've read things from 8 hours to 6 hours, to depending on, you know, each individual,
Yeah.
as long as you're getting between 6 and 8.
Yeah, kind of. So there is a bit of an 8-hour myth. So some people need 8. Some people can survive on less. The thing is that a lot of the research that's looking into sleep and the issues around what can happen to us if we don't sleep very well, like inflammation and all this kind of stuff, and diseases that might be triggered by a lack of sleep, that's all done on 8 hours. So that's kind of seen as the benchmark. In terms of what you can do, so when I talk about sleep and sleep hygiene, I put it into an acronym called BED, which is behavior, environment, and diet. So your behaviors, things like, you know, are you looking at your phone really late at night, close to bed, or your laptop? Because that emits blue light that can prevent this hormone melatonin being released, and that's the sleep hormone. You know, are you doing positive behaviors before you go to bed? Are you having a bath, that kind of thing? Because that can help. That can help relax you, and then that cooling effect that you get after you come out of the bath is what also triggers the release of melatonin. It's triggered by body temperature, so that's a good thing. The environment. So what does your bedroom look like? Not personally, James. What does your bedroom look like? But you know, you want to just make sure you've got you know, nice, fresh, clean bed linen. Make sure the room is cool. Make sure there's not a lot of mess under the bed. That kind of thing. That's really important to help you, because mess kind of causes stress. Those kind of things. Then you've got diet. So diet, the things we need to avoid: caffeine, for example, and sugar. Booze doesn't do you any favors to help you to sleep. So that's one thing. Compounds in food. So magnesium is a really good one to help with sleep, and you know, almonds are a really good source of magnesium, so that's a good one there. Maybe a bedtime snack. And something called tryptophan. So you've got tryptophan found in foods, so that goes up into the brain and helps to make serotonin, which makes melatonin. So that's in kind of protein foods. So you might want to have a nice protein supper, partner it with carbs to help with the uptake of that amino acid, and yeah, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, I mean, someone's just commented saying red wine helps you sleep. Now, I know the thing is that when you drink alcohol, and I know this, that you may think that, you know, you sleep quite quickly and you fall asleep quite quickly, but your body doesn't go into a deep sleep, does it? Because it's trying to process or digest the alcohol. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. So it does a couple of things. So you kind of do nod off quickly, but then you're right. You don't stay in a deep sleep. You spend more time in REM sleep, which is kind of quite erratic. It's when you dream and you kind of have not a very relaxing sleep. And also the problem with booze is if you drink too much, you've got to get up at night to go to the loo. You might get up at night because you're dehydrated. So again, it's just going to disrupt your sleep in many different ways. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really. You know, one glass might be good to sort of make you feel a little bit sleepy, but if you overdo it on the tequila, you're not going to sleep, James.
That's why I haven't been sleeping well on the weekends.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in terms of caffeine, because again, I know people can be sensitive to caffeine, not so sensitive. I mean, me personally, I read that, well, I've done research that caffeine stays in your body for around 12 hours. So for me, I will try not to have caffeine past kind of 11, 12 o'clock midday. And I don't know if that's a mental thing, but is that something maybe, I mean, caffeine before bed is probably a big no.
Yeah, I don't know many people that have a big coffee before bed, but some of us are more sensitive to caffeine. So there's a specific gene which dictates how fast you metabolize caffeine. So if you're quite a slow metabolizer, so I did a DNA test actually, and it said that I was, then unlike you, I'd probably avoid coffee after midday because it can linger in your body for ages, for like 10, 12 hours. But yeah, it does. It keeps you awake. It triggers your central nervous system, which sort of releases all those sort of energy hormones, those stress hormones. So yeah, it's not a great one. It's not a great one to have. I mean, you could try if you're looking for something sort of zingy in the afternoon, because also the other thing is people have coffee because I think it's giving them energy, but actually what coffee does, the caffeine, is it kind of makes you really alert, overly alert. It stimulates you. So it might have the other effect. If you're kind of looking for a pick-me-up, but you end up quite jittery, that's not a very nice feeling. So you could try things like a lemon tea with loads of ginger, like spiced ginger, something really sort of invigorating. If you're looking for something to help you to sleep, you could do a tea that's got like valerian, lavender, lemon balm, those kind of things. That's a good option. Yeah.
So do you sleep like a baby every night, Rob?
No, definitely not. I wish I did. I wouldn't look so old and knackered. But yeah, I do not sleep like a baby. I wrote a book, so I should do, but it's something I still struggle with. One of the biggest things I did was actually just making sure my room was really good for sleep. Of all the different things you can do, I think that's like one of the most important.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's a big one, particularly in lockdown and stuff. I always say to people and clients to avoid working in your bedroom, doing anything kind of stimulating in your bedroom, and associating that with an area that's, you know, normally quite proactive and stressful.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, so many people will just sort of, we have got a bit slobbish in lockdown. So yeah, they're sort of eating their dinner on the bed, and it just actually, what's really weird is there's a treatment for insomnia which helps you to break all these associations, and that's all about making sure that the bedroom is just for sleep, and you know, it kind of just breaks down this associations that you have with going to bed and not sleeping, and it's all about making sure you don't eat in the room or do anything else.
Yeah.
There's other things you do in your bedroom, but you know, this
sleep and maybe a few other activities.
Maybe, if you're lucky.
So in terms of training then, because a lot of my followers are very interested in training, and a lot of them work out, and myself included as well. What would you recommend is like a good thing to eat before you train? Again, there's lots of wrong and misinformation about there about, you know, should you eat before training, should you after? I mean, I always say to people that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have an effect on your body composition, just the energy that you use during that training session. But are there sort of things that you would recommend before a training session to eat?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think you got to think about how you're training, haven't you? And like, to what degree. So if you're just a recreational trainer that goes to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, then yeah, right, I don't think you need to concern yourself too much. Some people like to train on an empty stomach. Some people might want something small before they train. So it could be like a carby food, like a banana. Again, you might go for something like almonds, which contain plant protein. So the protein with a little bit of carb, might chuck it on a bit of yogurt, that kind of thing. That's something nice. So yeah, I just don't think it really matters too much. I mean, if you're more of a serious trainer, then you might be more concerned about making sure you get plenty of carbs, especially if you train a couple of times a day, if you're a sports person, because you know that you need to replenish those glycogen stores, so you've got that energy to kind of get you through your next session. But yeah, for Joe Blogs, recreational, don't you need to worry too much before. Just make sure you've got plenty of energy by way of carbs.
Yeah. And then what about post-workout? I mean, is high protein, would you say the kind of the biggest thing? I know, I mean, the problem is you see all these guys in gyms, they're so obsessed with their post-workout protein shake, but forget actually that the protein in the whole day is also equally important. So what's your kind of take on that?
Yeah, I would agree. There's a lot of kids at my gym that have got, you know, those big shakers full of bright pink sort of shakes, and they stink. So yeah, I think that it's important to have protein post-workout. But again, I think what we need to think about is, you know, how much exercise you're doing, how serious is it that you're doing? Like you said, you've got protein lingering in your body. If you're eating protein all across the day, it's fine. If maybe you're doing some sort of weight training and protein is particularly important for the sort of recovery and repair of muscle tissues, you might want to up it a little bit. So that could be a protein snack like almonds, which contains sort of about 6 grams. So you might want to have that. You can boost the protein of that snack with a bit of yogurt or something. Yeah, I mean, if you're more serious a trainer, then it's important to have protein probably with every meal and after you train. And I normally say to people I work with that are sports people, it's about 30 grams after you've trained. But again, to those guys, it's much more important because they're putting their body under much more strain. But if you're sort of a gym goer 3-4 times a week, then yeah, protein's okay, but it's not the be all and end all like it's made out to be.
Yeah. In my view. And I think, I mean, I know I've noticed certainly a big thing I think people do when they're looking for energy is they look for that sort of quick release energy, you know, whether it's biscuits, it's chocolate, it's sweets, it's stuff that you know, is kind of available and they know will give them that instant hit. But then obviously you've got the crash. So I mean, a big thing, I guess, of avoiding that, particularly if you're at your own home, is you know, not having those kinds of foods in your household where, you know, you are eating them. I mean, would you say I mean, I know firsthand that almonds are something just really good to snack on. They're easy, they're light, and they do give you that kind of long-lasting, sustainable energy.
Yeah.
Would you say that kind of having almonds at any point in the day is a good idea, or is there like a certain time?
Yes, so you're right about the snacks. I mean, a lot of people turn to sugary foods, especially when they're looking for a boost. And obviously these aren't really going to do you any favors. It's just putting, something into your body that's not very nutritious. So I think it also affects your blood sugar levels. So especially if you're doing it on an empty stomach and maybe you've skipped a meal and now you're reaching for snacks, it's going to sort of take your blood sugar levels up. It's going to drop, and then you're probably going to feel a bit tired again. So yeah, opting for a snack like almonds, which are a good source of protein, which also help to balance out your blood sugar levels, is a good option. And just don't rely on sugar. I mean, a bit of sugar in your diet is fine, but don't rely on it for energy. It's not going to do any favors. And also, it just encourages you to eat more of it. So if you're trying to maintain a healthy body weight, or you're trying to lose weight, then obviously it's better to go for sort of protein snacks if you need to snack anyway in the first place, and try and avoid the sugar if possible.
Yeah. So there's a question here. Do almonds need some sort of cooking, like roasting, because of, what's that word? Don't even know what that. Almidalin or something. Amidalin. Don't even know what that is.
Okay.
That
I don't know what that is, but yeah, I think you can. You can definitely cook them. They're tasty if you roast them. I quite like roasting them in different flavors. So if you've got like smoked paprika or anything you want really, rub them or something sweeter. You can roast them. They're really good. Toasted almonds are great. Sliced up, toast them in the pan. Great on salads. Great to sprinkle on curries. That kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm a big almond tart fan.
A big almond tart. Oh yeah, nice.
Probably not to snack on.
Nice. With cream or with something else or on its own.
Yeah, a bit of dollop of cream, delish. I've started having almonds in my morning porridge, which is really nice. Again, it's that kind of slow release energy, because often I would have like a massive breakfast, and again I would feel a bit sluggish after that. Again, just because of the volume of food that I eat because of my training, I sometimes, it's unavoidable feeling that slight dip in energy because I'm processing, so much protein and carbohydrate. In terms of, I mean, obviously almonds are fantastic, but what would you say, because there's a lot of people who said they're allergic to nuts on here, as maybe an alternative to almonds?
I mean, if you're allergic to nuts, then no nut, almond or whatever is going to do. So you might want to look for something that has got a similar amount of protein in. So a similar sort of nutrition profile. So that could be some seeds. They're fairly similar nutritionally, and you'll get the fiber and you'll get the magnesium that you find in almonds, that kind of thing. Something savoury. So if you're looking for a snack, edamame beans, so soybeans. You can either buy them ready peeled or you can buy them frozen just to frost them. They're quite nice with a bit of soy. It's a savoury snack. Again, they've got the protein in and they've got magnesium and other similar nutrients. So that could be an option, those two. Yeah.
And then sort of, because I mean, obviously like anything, you don't want to be over consuming too much of anything. So for almonds, I mean, what's the recommended amount or
So it's the recommended amount is sort of a handful, which is about 23 almonds. So I mean, there's a misconception around sort of almonds, well, not just almonds, but nuts in general, that they can make you put on weight, because they are quite energy dense. They're quite rich in fat. They're quite rich in calories. But there's no evidence to show this, and actually, there's more evidence to show that they help people to maintain a healthy body weight by way of the fact that they're a sort of really healthy, nutritious food to include.
Well, exactly. I mean, and putting on weight is just down to, the calories in versus calories out. So you can easily consume a handful of almonds a day in your diet and not put on weight.
Yeah, definitely. And also the thing to add there, a lot of people talk about not all calories are created equally, which is kind of common sense, right? So including foods that you get more bang for your buck nutritionally is really important when you're trying to maintain a healthy body weight. So again, almonds, good source of B vitamins, protein, fiber, magnesium, zinc, lots of interesting nutrients. So good nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, magnesium and zinc are the kind of big ones that I didn't really know much about, but did a lot more research on, and just particularly again when you're training and recovery are two I find really important. Really important things to have in your diet, and you know, sometimes I'll smash a bag of almonds before bed just because I think it's going to make me sleep better.
Smash a bag of almonds. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, zinc is really important for men's health to start with, so that's a good one for you, James. It's good for reproductive health. It's really good for obviously your immune system, so that's a great one. Magnesium wise, yeah, magnesium is really important in the diet, and actually it's quite hard to absorb the magnesium that we get from a lot of food. So yeah, to top yourself up for nuts and things like that, is really important. Low levels of magnesium have actually been shown to interrupt with sleep, and also interrupt with and you know, contribute to things like anxiety and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a really good one and a great one before you go to bed. I often get people to take magnesium before they go to bed.
Yeah,
have magnesium-rich foods. Yeah.
Yeah. And in terms of eating before bed, what would you say? Again, there's so much misinformation, a lot of myths out there about you shouldn't eat before you go to bed, or you shouldn't eat this after a certain amount of time, which is obviously, as we know, is all rubbish. But I mean, is there like a sort of a window of time that you should stop eating before you go to sleep?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't really, I'm like you, I don't really conform to this, don't eat before you go to bed. Your body is not, your body doesn't just switch off and turn this food into fat. It keeps using the energy that you give it to do all sorts of stuff. You need quite a lot of energy at night while you're asleep because your body's doing loads of different stuff. So yeah, I don't think there's a cut-off. I think maybe if you suffer with things like indigestion, or you might want to eat a bit earlier in the evening. But yeah, I don't think there is a cut-off. Maybe you're doing intermittent fasting, you know, 16-hour fast. A lot of people quite like doing that. So you might want to eat a bit earlier so that you're not eating too late in the day the next day. But yeah, no, I don't think there's a cut-off. I think just...
Yeah. And then what about sort of the number of meals to eat in a day? Because again, there's a lot of information around, you know, the amount of protein, for example, that our body can consume at one time, which is around, you know, 25-30 grams. So it makes sense to be as efficient as possible to spread that over, you know, 4 or 5 meals. But again, you know, I guess if you're intermittent fasting and only having 2 meals a day, that's fine, so long as you're getting in your nutrients. Is that right? Yeah,
definitely. When you think about it in terms of like, it really doesn't matter when you eat, to be honest. You've got a set number of calories that you want across the day and a set number of nutrients. So how you decide to split that up is really up to you. A lot of people aren't breakfast people, so they might start eating at 11 o'clock. Some people like 3 meals a day and a couple of snacks. Other people like to have lots of small meals across the day. To be honest with you, I just don't think it really matters. I think it's, as long as you're getting enough nutrition and you're eating the right kinds of foods, it's up to you. The time, how you want to do that time-wise. It's just how it fits in with your lifestyle, how it fits in with your appetite. You know, if you're really tired, or maybe you're struggling with stress and anxiety, you might want to be faced with sort of big bits of food. So you might just want little bits of food across the day, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Like a newborn baby, small meals every 3 hours. That's what I'm like.
Just like that. Get someone to burp you afterwards.
Feed me some warm milk from a bottle.
Feed you some warm milk, swaddle you in a nice muzzy. I mean, I'd love that, to be honest with you.
Those were the days, Rob. Those were the days.
Yeah, I remember when I was 6 months old. Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess, because I saw someone say what's kind of like your number one tip for a better sleep cycle and a sleep routine. I mean, one thing that I think helps me massively is going to bed and waking up at the same time, you know, for your circadian rhythm. Is that
definitely
important?
You've got it spot on there. I mean, it's all about making sure that you go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. That is how to get your circadian rhythm in sync. So just doing everything you can to get that right. A lot of people will force themselves to stay up late, and then they'll be, you know, going to bed really early the next day. So yeah, as much as you can, try and get that right. I mean, if you can get to sleep and if you can stay asleep, one of my biggest issues with sleep is staying asleep, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. So it's about getting up. I definitely don't lie around in bed. Just get up and make sure that you do something to help relax yourself and get you to bed. Whether it's reading, listen to a bit of music, make sure the lights are down low. breathing exercises, stretching, whatever it is that you can do. But definitely don't lie around in bed just sort of staring at the ceiling. It's not going to help you, honestly. And actually, this is part of also what starts to form these unhealthy relationships that we have with the bedroom and sleep and not sleeping. So it's important not to break those before they become a real issue.
Yeah. And then how do you stop? I mean, what about waking up at sort of 3, 4 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah, so if I wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, I kind of just stay awake because I go to bed really early and I just think, oh, there's just no point. I'll go back to bed for a couple of hours, but I might just roll around and probably won't feel so great. I think the important thing is that you try and make sure that you're relaxed and that you're doing everything you can to put your mind at rest. So it might be that you get up and you've been overthinking stuff. So you could write everything down in a book about what you're going to do. The problem is at that time of night, that anxiety sets in, doesn't it? Because you're like, oh my God, I've got to get up in a couple of hours. And now I'm feeling really anxious. I'm never going to sleep. So yeah, it's about just getting yourself relaxed, make a herbal tea, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
whatever
go down, munch on some almonds.
Go munch on some almonds, rich in magnesium, helps to relax you. Yeah, exactly. So
knock you out.
yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we've covered pretty much everything that I want to talk about, and there was lots of amazing information from you, Rob, there about all kinds of things, and there have been kind of questions trickling throughout which we've been answering. Yeah, I mean, unless anyone else has any other questions to do with sort of energy and almonds they want to ask Rob, the expert, whilst he's here, then fire them away. But that was very useful, and I've certainly learned a lot about the different types of foods that we should be eating. Things like almonds, how good they are for you for a plethora of benefits. Sleep as well. I think sleep's a big thing. I found in lockdown, there are definitely kind of periods and weeks where I found it harder to sleep, just because you were not getting outside as much and you're kind of cooped up inside and that kind of thing.
I think that's actually a really good point as well, because, a lot of us, there are lots of other reasons why we've not been able to sleep. And like you said, and the tiredness thing as well, it's about not just sort of, as we're all spending a lot more time inside, other things you can do is open the windows, get some natural sunlight, go for a walk. There's lots of different things you can do to sort of re-energize yourself. As well as the diet side of thing, just don't forget to go do that kind of stuff instead of just sitting there nodding at your desk.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a question here that says, does excess almonds raise your cholesterol?
No, they're good fats, so they're more likely to increase your HDL cholesterol, which is the good cholesterol. That's the cholesterol that sort of scavenges for the bad stuff and removes it from the body, same to LDL. So yeah, I think it's fine. And actually, almonds and other nuts, there is some research to show how they can actually help to reduce cholesterol. So yeah, they're a good one.
Good.
To include in the diet. Yeah, heart healthy.
Good. Yeah, very good for the heart. Awesome. All right. Well, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, if you want to give Rob Hobson a follow, just search his name on Instagram, and he's the handsome fella that will probably come up first. And if you've got any more questions as well, then drop myself or Rob a DM. But yeah, thanks a lot for that. That was great. And thanks to everyone who joined and watched. And enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Rob. Good to chat again.
Awesome. Cheers, James. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. See you, Rob. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
This video probably is